Hey y'all, Spideera here again, and this ranking review is for Make Our Days Count. This story is about a popular guy, and he's from a decent, happy family, and for whatever reason, he starts to suspect that another guy at school is flirting with his girl. So he and his friends start to harass this guy relentlessly until he discovers that the guy is not only broke, but practically on the verge of starvation. So strangely, he starts trying to befriend the guy, but his constant pursuit of friendship leads to feelings that he's not sure what to do with. And in the meantime, one of his other friends starts experiencing similar feelings for somebody else who's also a guy. So the two of them begin trying to figure out what it means to have feelings for a guy when they have always been attracted to girls, and figuring all of this out without really letting their friends know what's going on with their bodies, heads, minds, and soul. Okay, I'm joking. It's a very straightforward, very nice story in its own way. Okay, so what is the ranking for this one? I do give this a 10. Now, this is a jump for joy 10, not an over the moon 10, but a 10 nonetheless. So, why is it a 10? Because History and Caravan did it again. Yeah, that's really a pretty good company. They do a really good job with their films as far that I have seen. I can't say all of them, but most of what I've seen that's come from the History group, I guess it's like a production team or something. They do a pretty good job. Okay, but not want to brag too much on the group itself, and want to cover the information on this story. It's like, so let's focus on that part first. Okay, so this one's a 10 because it does check all the boxes. You know, the guys are guys, the production is great. Overall, they do a good job. Now, there is no sex between the main characters. Okay, at least not from what I recall, there wasn't any. Now, I believe it's alluded to at some point, but they don't really, it's never like in your face where you could tell they actually did anything. But they are supposed to be in high school, I believe, so sex isn't really required, and so they didn't actually lose a point for that. And they actually do have a sex scene, but it is between the secondaries, not the main. So just a note there. Speaking of, I'm updating these playlists so that it'll be easier to find this stuff when you're looking for it. So if you see anything that has an asterisk followed by B or Y or something like that, those are codes. So if you see them starting to show up on the playlist, you know, it won't be on the playlist itself. It's going to be on my commentary videos. The main reason for that is because I want to make sure that the playlist is not picking up in the algorithm as being a BL. And I know some people would probably say, but that doesn't make any sense. We all want traction. We want more BL. We do. But we have to keep in mind that for whatever reason, BLs are often either highly censored or they're taken down. And I don't know if it's like a YouTube thing or what, but I've noticed there's a lot of these that I watched about years ago, some of which don't even have sex in them, and they're gone. And the companies are still posting, so it's not that the companies are necessarily, well, I guess the companies could be taking them down, although that wouldn't make a hell of a lot of sense. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. I don't know what's going on with it. What I do know is that I'm noticing that things that feature BL in the terminology or yaoi tend to get flagged or moved, or you have to put a disclaimer or an age restriction, even on videos where it's like, you know, somebody's butt might show or something, which it's getting to that point. So I am putting codes in here so that when you go to the channel and you're looking for something in particular, you can just type in the code and it'll list all the shows that meet that criteria. So, okay, so back to this review, because I'll do a separate video on that. But I'm mentioning it here because this is probably one of the first videos where you're going to see that code already in the video. You know, where I went ahead and put it in there while I was making it. So if you're wondering what that is, that's what it's for. It's so it'll pull up in the search, because it's not going to pull up in the algorithm itself. If you're on the main page of YouTube trying to do it, it's not going to work. But if you're on the channel and then you type it in the little search thing that's at the end of the choices, then it will work. Okay, so back to the review for Make Our Days Count. So there's no visible sex between the main characters, as I stated. I'm not sure if they allude to it or not. I watched this a while ago. I do not think they ever really push sex between these two at all. But I do know that there's some for the secondary characters. So ultimately, they didn't get any points taken off for that. In fact, they didn't have any points taken off at all because they met all the standard criteria. Even though in some places it does look like there could be some issue with the sound quality, but I don't think that was due to the production. I think it was due to however it was uploaded. The story itself is a compelling story. It's interesting, and it has pretty good pacing. So this isn't one where you're going to be twiddling your thumbs through half of it. Although there are quite a few episodes for this, it moves along quickly. So it's a good watch. The characters, however, look a little bit unique. One of the characters is super cute. The other one, I don't know. He's kind of funny looking, but for this story, it actually kind of works. He reminds me of the guy who plays in Trap. So I don't know if it's the same guy or not, but those two guys, they're not cute. I'm not going to go out here and say, oh, he's so adorable. No, he's not. But the way he performs, like his acting is what's cute. And standing him next to a guy that's as hot as the main character, it just gives a contrast that's borderline adorable. You know, it's like, oh my God, it must be love. Just kidding. It does work for this story. The story is cute and it is sweet. It's hard not to, like, once you start watching episode 1, it's hard to not watch episode 2 and then go from there. So fair warning, this one is quick. It grabs your attention and it'll keep your attention if this is your type of story. So that brings me to the next point. Is this your type of story? And for the most part, too many clicks there. So for the most part, will you actually like it? The story, probably. I think most people will like the story. The ending, probably not. Now, almost anyone who loves BL will love the story because it's sweet. It's adorable. It's one of those stories that's really told 1,000,000 times by 1,000,000,000 different people. But they do such a great job with it on this one. It takes that common enemy to friend thread and it just flips the whole thing on its head, but in a good way. It also kind of weaves in and deals with all the realistic issues, from family to the age differences to self-discovery. It handles all of these things in a smooth storytelling method, so it's more appealing. In fact, it's so appealing even if you're not into BL, you may still like this story and probably enjoy it because it's just that kind of film. Now, to be fair, it's not riveting. This is not one that's going to keep you on your toes or anything. It's just good. There's not a lot of hardcore or rough stuff. Well, a little bit on the sex department, but I mean in general, like, you know, the characters getting into, serious arguments and fights. There's a little bit of that, but not to the extent where, you know, you're going to have to, like, pause the film and go get a stiff drink or something. It's well balanced. So my opinion is the best way to know if you're going to like it is to watch episode 1. If you like episode 1, you're probably going to enjoy the rest of the show because most of the show kind of follows along and it doesn't disappoint. It's not one of those that starts out great and then it drops the ball and then you have to try to figure out, okay, what was I watching? It's not that kind of show. They do a good job of keeping you on track. And the characters, the chemistry between the characters, the way they interact with each other, it's really, it's It's one of those shows, to be honest, I would say it's one that fits the category of being beautiful. It's that good of a story. It is just, it's a beautiful, well played, work of art. I'll put it that way. I think they did an excellent job with this one. I don't know too many people who wouldn't like it. I mean, because like I said, even if you don't like BL, you still might like this story. It's that good. Okay, so moving on to, is there anything that you need to know? It's about 20 episodes long, so that is a bit much, but the episodes are only about 35 minutes each, so it's not as long as it sounds. Most of the episodes would fall into the G-rated category. There's probably maybe 2 episodes that would more than likely hit PG-13. Maybe R, depending on, I don't know how censored this is for YouTube. I didn't watch the YouTube version all the way. I saw this on another platform. So I don't know if they cut all those scenes out or not. But the ones I recall, I'm not sure if it was I don't know if it was censored or uncensored. So I wouldn't be able to tell you that. And I don't remember which episodes it's in. But I do know YouTube has started putting like a agreement button if there are any scenes like that. So sometimes they don't necessarily censor the show. They just make you let them know that you're getting ready to watch something that's for adults. So just a heads up. I don't know if that's in this one or not. But I do know there's at least 1 or 2 episodes that can be a little bit borderline R, depending on how much of it they actually show. And the original one, it would definitely be an R. But I don't know about the one on this playlist. Okay, there's only 1 season that I know of. There's no other shows or spinoffs for this that I know of. There are a few tearjerk style moments in this, but otherwise there's no real triggers. It does deal with a lot of realistic issues, though. Just a fair warning. If you are going through like major family issues or suffering from any kind of personal loss or something like that, then I would say maybe tread with a little caution. But even the way it's portrayed is not really triggering in my opinion. But then I don't have those issues, so I wouldn't know. But it's not like it's one of those in your face where the emotions are so strong that you just can't stand it. At least not from what I have seen. It's still movie quality and just, but not the kind of thing where, you're going to need to take any meds, I don't think. So anyway, not to go too far with it, at the end of the day, I would say that, this one is a good one. And it's one that's definitely worth watching. And, for most people, I think if you just like a good old-fashioned love story, then you'll find that this one is a pretty good one. And for verification, this is called Make Our Days Count by History and Caravan. I do encourage, if you have not subscribed to their channels, to please do so, because they do put out good work, and it would be great to encourage them by at least subscribing to their channel and watching their presentations. Okay, so that's about all I can really say about this as a kind of a wrap-up then. If you have seen it or you're thinking about watching it, please comment below and let people know what you think of it. Like I said, for me, it's a 10 all the way. I think it's a great film. But if you feel otherwise, or even if you agree or disagree with me, let other people know so that they'll be able to glance through before they watch 20 episodes. Just kidding. Okay, so, but that's what our comment section is for below, to share the info with one another so everybody will know if it's something that they're going to like to watch or not. Okay, well, that's all I can really say about the show. I hope you enjoy the show if you decide to watch it. And if you do enjoy it, then that means you like it. And if you like it, you'll love it. And if you don't, you won't. Well, this is Spideera, and I'm signing off. I'll see you in the next one.